Okay, first thing we're going to do is install Java 17 from the Oracle OpenJDK 17. I'll post links in the notes for this video so you can get to it easily. But if you Google Java SE 17 downloads, you'll get to this page. And this is the instructions for installing on Windows. So you're going to use the Windows x64 installer. And it's 150 megs roughly to download. So you'll download that. Again, this is off Oracle's website, and this is the sort of set of historical downloads. The latest version of Java, I think, is something quite a bit further along than 17, but 17 is what we want. And I clicked on the installer, hit next. Notice where it installs, program files, Java JDK-17. We're going to use that path later. And it's installed. So that was pretty quick. And just to show where it is, C:// program files JDK 17, and we'll path out to just that JDK 17 folder. Yeah, pretty straightforward, not a big deal. 17 is the way to go. Again, that's the Windows x64 installer. Next, we're going to download the Android Studio Flamingo. This is, again, an old version of Android Studio from 2023. And this is the Android Studio Archives page. This is developer.android.com/studio/archive. Again, this link will be in the video notes. And what we want is Flamingo from May 24th, 2023. Again, that's patch 2, May 24th, 2023. You'll see there's other Flamingos there. I did a Control-F, FLAM, trying to find it. And you want the Windows 64-bit installer. So that's, again, Android Studio 2022.2.1.20, and that is the Windows installer. Again, May 24th, 2023. And we'll download that. It takes a little while. I'll speed up the video in places where downloads and installs are taking some time. Also, just a reminder, if you're on laptop or desktop computer, J, K, and L are your friends in YouTube. L will jump you forward 10 seconds, J will jump you back, K will pause. Super useful keys on the keyboard for those. You can also speed up and slow down the video with Shift greater than and Shift less than. The Shift key and greater than, Shift key less than. The less than sign will slow the video down. You keep hitting it multiple times, it'll slow down all the way down until I'm sounding quite intoxicated. Or speed me up with the Shift key and the greater than button. That's where the period is on the keyboard. That will speed me up and make me sound like a chipmunk. And here we go, hit next. You're going to install Android Studio. Notice where that is, C:/program files, /Android Studio. After we get Android Studio installed, we're going to install a bunch of special things, I guess is the best way to describe it, inside of Android Studio. So we're going to open up Android Studio and use Studio to get some special APKs and SDKs and NDKs for Android Studio, and we'll go through that. It's a little finicky. There's a lot of little checkboxes to check, but here we go. Again, feel free to pause the video at times that you need it so you can see stuff. If you're not on Android Studio Flamingo, abort and go get Android Studio Flamingo. Okay, the standard install is fine. I'm using dark mode is fine. Okay, you have to scroll down. You have to accept a bunch of stuff. Notice you can't keep going because you have to go over to this extra license, hit the accept key and hit finish. And now we're down. What's happening right now is it's downloading the 35 SDK by default. I think it gets hung up here and I have to restart it. I'm not sure. I can't remember. Or I think I click into show details to make sure it's actually downloading. So once we open this up, we're going to use Android's API 34 and 12L. You can click show details here and notice what's happening, right, is it's downloading but doesn't look like it's downloading. The little toolbar at the top is kind of annoying. So notice now it's saying checking existing file, which means it did actually download. So I almost canceled, but luckily I didn't because it switched into checking existing file. Now it's unzipping that file. Okay, now stuff is moving along. So while this is happening, I'll just describe a little bit what the deal is. You're installing Java, you're installing Android Studio. You're also going to install Unreal Engine. And Unreal Engine uses Android Studio, which uses Java, to create an APK file for the MetaQuest 2 headset. So you need this sort of tool chain or suite of software in order to make an APK file. We're also going to use Sidequest. Sidequest is a great way to check to make sure your USB connection between your headset and Unreal is working well. It's a good tool for that, so we'll use that as well. So you're going to see a bunch of stuff that we check and uncheck to get this going. Some of the numbers that I uncheck might be a little bit off because this is referencing some installs I've done in previous years, but I think it's pretty close. But what you check is going to be the same, so it should be fine. Okay, you're going to click More Actions. That's a weird little option right there, right? And then SDK Manager, because you're going to install different SDKs. Okay, and you'll notice we've got a little toolbar down the left-hand side, and then we have a tab called SDK Platforms and a tab called SDK Tools. We're going to go to SDK Platforms first, and if you scroll up, you'll notice 35 is installed. We don't need that. So you're going to uncheck it, and then we're going to check the one we do need, and that is 12L. And then we go in SDK Tools, and in SDK Tools, we need to click on a box that says Show Package Details, and that's in the lower right-hand corner down there. That just expands all the options that we had before, so you can see all the stuff below it. You're going to uncheck 35.0.0. And I overscrolled. you're going to check 32.0.0. Don't check 32.1, check 32.0.0. And now you need to get your NDK. And your NDK is very specifically only one, 25.1.8397393. And you can pause the video if you need to double check you're checking the right thing. And go ahead and install command line tools. You want version 13. You can see the number 13 in that right column next to it. And then CMake 3.22.1 and CMake 3.10.2. And all that's looking good. Android SDK Platform Tools is already checked, so you're good there. I think in other versions it's not. Okay, now what it's telling you, right, is I'm going to go delete a bunch of stuff that you unchecked and then install a bunch of stuff that you did check. So what we're going to see here is a bunch of stuff downloading from the internet. Android is going and getting all those things we asked for. This does take a while, so I'll probably fast forward in the video some of this stuff. There we go. And you won't really use Android Studio like some people use Android Studio. You're really just using it to install the SDKs and NDKs. It's really an installer for us. Unreal Engine is the thing that's going to use those tools, so it's just an easy way to get them. And the next thing we're going to do is go get the Epic's game launcher, which we'll use to install Unreal Engine 5.4.4. You can Google Epic Games installer. It's probably the easiest way to get there. It's from epicgames.com. The installer's about 175 megs. And you'll notice it's just installing in the classic Windows spot, C:\program files. There's a few kind of odd things about the Epic Games Launcher, so we'll go through that. Some of you may have Epic Games Launcher already installed because you are playing Fortnite on your PC laptop or something like that, but some of you don't, so I thought I would go through that install. I already have an Epic Games account, so I'm just looking up what my username and password is for the login. If you don't have one, you can make one. Okay, still updating, verifying the update, that is. Again, the Epic Games Store requires you to make an account. I already have one, so I'm just went and got my email address and password for that. The Epic Games Launcher sometimes takes a long time to do stuff and doesn't really tell you that anything's happening, so occasionally you'll have to kind of just wait it out and hope that it's okay. You can see here my antivirus has kicked in. So I let that through, or Windows Defender, whatever it's called. Yeah, and it's about to reopen here, but it looks like it just disappeared, right? So, okay, it's back. And now you'll log in. Again, if you want to make your own account, you can scroll down and make one. Okay, so this is where we're going to install the Epic Games installer. Notice that Fortnite is installed by default, which is a little annoying. we'll have to deal with that in a little bit, but that's okay. Okay, this is the Epic Games Launcher. And, oh yeah, so I went to my profile. Those are fine. But the thing you really want to uncheck is that show free game notification and show news or other special offer notifications, because that thing will bug you to death. So I turn those off just so I'm not getting promos from Epic in the app launcher all the time. Okay, that Unreal Engine tab on the left is what we want. It's going to take us into the Unreal Engine stuff. And you'll notice there's two library tabs, and that's kind of annoying. You're always going to use that top library tab. You see here engine versions is blank. If you click on the plus sign, you're going to get the latest version, which is 5.4.4. These directions are for 5.4.4. And you will click the install button to get it going. Notice where that's installing, which is Program Files, Epic Games, UE54. This is a big install, so it will take a while. Oh, this queued thing here is a pain in the butt, because what's happening is it's not downloading because Fortnite is being downloaded in the background. You'll see that I discovered this when I clicked into the downloads tab down there. So what I did is I went in and said, hey, wait a minute, Fortnite's installing, just kill that. So I clicked on it to stop it, and now Unreal Engine 544 is installing. And yeah, this is about 15 gigs, 14.3 gigs, so this takes quite some time. You'll notice in the upper right, you've got the little percentage. That's kind of the most useful part of this UI right now. It would be nice if that percentage was over there on the left where the 5.4.4 is, but we can't have everything, I guess. While this is happening, just a little tour. So you're going to see your engine versions at the top, and then do you see how it says My Projects and there's no projects there? Once you have your engine installed, you're going to create projects. It's a little weird because you'll notice there's no Create Project button. What you do is you launch the engine, and if there's, and that sort of takes you through the new project helper. I'll speed this up because it takes quite a while to download. Okay, the download has happened, and now we're verifying. This takes a little bit of time. You can see there little is a visual indicator of the Unreal Engine logo filling in. Okay, there's a cleanup step. I think remove some downloaded stuff that I used. And you should see this little box flip over. Yep. Okay, a little down arrow there has some options for you. And one of them is called Options. Set current is used for multiple game engines, but go into Options, scroll down and see if Android is checked. If not, check it and hit apply. Okay, we're finally in the cleaning up phase. Now to launch. And after you've launched it, it'll take a little while. Check to see if all the prerequisites installed. And while that's happening, let's go ahead and get the advanced installer for Sidequest. That's at sidequestvr.com/download. Again, get the advanced one. Don't get the basic one. Sidequest is great for quite a few things, but one thing we'll use it for in this video is checking to make sure our USB connection is good between our headset and our computer. Sidequest is a little finicky. It's a web app, it seems like, or definitely loads like a giant web page in the app, so it can get hung and do weird things, which I think it did here. It's stuck at downloading 100%. The biggest thing though is look at that upper left. If you see connecting, it's an orange dot or a red dot, you know you've got a connection issue. And likely that comes from not having your headset set up in dev mode, something like that. I have a separate video about that. Let me think. Oh, but what we want is a green dot. That means the connection is good. And the security stuff is set up between your headset and your computer. Yeah, you can see here the downloading is stuck at 100%. But the download is finished. It's just this screen is hung. So what I did is I just closed out and reopened Sidequest just to get rid of that waiting thing. You see the unauthorized allowed in headset? That message means you need to put the headset on and confirm that you allowed the headset to connect to your computer. Once you do that, it should turn green. And it is green. Okay, so we know we have a good connection between your headset and the computer. So now we want to go reopen Epic Games Launcher. And go to the library tab at the top, not the library tab on the left. You'll see the library tab on the left is a games library. You want the library tab on the top. And 544 is our installed engine. If you wanted to add another game engine, you use that plus icon. You'll see there's some older versions of the engine there. Get rid of that, just letting you know that that's there. Again, I think I already did this, but go into options and doubly check to make sure your Android target platforms are installed. They are, so we're good to go. And we're going to launch the engine. You'll notice this does take a little while to actually launch. Sometimes this loading screen can take a very long time to get through. Okay, it's just about loaded. Sometimes it will pause at a significant amount of time. Okay, on the left-hand side, you're going to see all these options. Games is what you will always want. That's a sort of category of projects. Pick the virtual reality project. Make sure starter content is checked. Notice where the project is going to be. It's going to be in Documents, Unreal Projects. Now, it's important to pick a name that you like because you can't change it. So I thought about it a few different times. And what I end up going with is VR Project UE 544. You can pick something more creative than that. I'm just picking something that's useful to me. So I know this is the generic VR project in Unreal Engine 544. Again, looks like it kind of disappeared, but it's back. So now we are launching the editor with this project called VR Project UE 544. Also, just a heads up, this project name is going to be the name of your app on your Quest 2 headset. So we'll be looking for VR Project UE 544 later. Okay, this is the editor. You'll see a couple options here. We do want to update the project file. Doesn't take very long. And here's a little tour. Output log is super important. That's where when you're doing a build, it's telling you how it's going. Content drawer is really great for editing. It's where all your files and folders are. Platforms, we'll spend a lot of time in there. Android is the platform we care about. And just a little tour of the right-hand side. This is all your items inside the outliner. So if you click on an item in the viewport, it'll light up in the outliner, or if you click on an item in the outliner, it'll light up in the viewport. And your edit project settings is really important for this step. So go to edit project settings. You're going to get all the project settings on the left-hand side here. We're going to scroll down to the Android stuff. Platforms, there we go. Android first. And you can ignore that red screen. We're going to get around it. You are going to set your minimum SDK version and your target SDK version. And in my Google Doc, I have those. I just got to scroll down to find them. And the minimum SDK version is 25, and the target SDK version is 32. Another thing we want to do is we want to check package game data inside APK. That'll put all of our game data inside one APK file. Okay, next we want to set up our Android SDK information, so we're going to path out to the Android SDK inside of our project settings. So inside project settings, you'll see we're at Android SDK, and you'll notice that a folder we need is hidden, and here I am poking around looking for it. And the easiest way to do it is to go to this PC, users, your username, and you'll see that AppData is missing. and it's because it's hidden from you, but we can unhide it. And the easiest way I know to unhide it is to go into your system settings. You can do that by searching for settings in the toolbar. And I think I had to go find a setting in Explorer. And there it is, show hidden files in Explorer. And you'll want to go to File Explorer, and you see show hidden in system file. Show hidden in system files is hidden. So go ahead and click on, and they'll show up. And now, when you go back to your users folder, you will see AppData, and it's like slightly grayed out to tell you that it's hidden, but it's now a folder you can get to. You'll see it doesn't show up here because we opened that window before we made the change. So go ahead and just click back on the three dots. Go to this PC, users, your username, and there's AppData. Go ahead and click into it. Local, Android, SDK. Select folder. So that's users, your username, AppData, local, Android, SDK. Then you're going to pick the NDK version, which is 25.1.89, etc. Now we need to go get Java. Remember installing that. That's back on C, program files, Java, JDK 17. That's it. Hit select folder. Now our SDK API level should be latest. I'm just double checking that it should be. I'll scroll down here, and it is. And then our NDK API level is Android -32. So just change that to -32. Yep. Okay. We are now ready to build. I'm going to go to platforms, Android, because the Quest 2 is a Android phone on your face, really. Android ASTC is our flavor. Use project settings is fine for the binary configuration. You're going to see these two little grayed out warnings in SDK management. You can ignore those. There's a way to install the SDK through Unreal, but it's or ornery, I'll put it that way. You're going to get this message that says SDK not set up. Go ahead and hit continue anyway. Like I said, there's a way to set up the SDK in Unreal, but it doesn't really work and doesn't let you configure much. Okay, so I'm in my project, as you can see. So I'm just creating a new folder. I always call my folder Quest 2, just to make it different. Again, we're in Documents, Unreal Projects, VR Project UE544, which is my project name. Yours will be different. Make a folder called Quest 2. Go ahead and click into that Quest 2 folder and select it, and that is where your project is going to build. Okay, we're going to see Packaging Project, and you're going to see the output log. Go ahead and click on Show Output Log so you can see it. Now, I'm on a very slow PC. It's a number of years old. It's because it's my test PC, my test computer. So this build on the first pass took an hour and 45 minutes. So I'm going to definitely cut out a big chunk, but I want to show you a couple things. Look in that search log, in that output log, and you'll see a couple of things down towards the bottom of the log. You can see that the log is growing. It's going to grow the whole time that the build is happening. And you're going to see some of the settings that we picked in our Android and our Android SDK settings show up in this log. So I just wanted to kind of show you what's up with that. You can see maybe about 10 lines down or so. I'm trying to count quick. There's that path to our NDK/25.1. You can see there's the NDK API Android -32. That's what we selected in our Android SDK settings. Again, you can see that link to the NDK. Notice there you're seeing it says requested memory 1.5 gig per action. 4.29 gigs available, which means it can only run 2 parallel actions at once. So if you have a lot more RAM than I have, you can really speed up this process. Again, there's our NDK 25.1.8937393. Our NDK toolchain is R25. Okay, this is going to take quite some time, so I'm going to cut out a big chunk of this for now because this log is just going to run. A couple of things about the log. You may see occasionally a yellow line show up in this log as it's going. That's just a warning. You can ignore that many times when you see a yellow line in the log. It doesn't mean anything that's going to impact your build. If you see red items in your log, though, your build is probably going to fail. I don't know if I've ever seen a red line in the log and the build succeeded. So just a heads up there. If you see red lines, you know you've got a configuration problem. Usually the most common problem is someone puts a path. Either they have the wrong Java version installed, they have an Android Studio configuration problem, or the path they set up in Unreal Engine in the Android section is incorrect or has a typo or something like that. All right, here we go. I'm going to let this thing run and we'll wait it out and talk about what happened at the end. Okay, now I've cut out at least an hour of build time, and we're really close to the end. It says packaging completed there in the lower right. You can see that. And if you look at our output log, you'll see things like archive command started, archive command completed. That is a good sign. You'll see the third to the last line there. It says build successful. That's really great. And so what we're going to do now is go back to that folder we created called Quest 2. Again, that's in Documents, Unreal Projects, and then whatever your project name is. And then go to Quest 2, and you'll see there's a folder called Android ASTC. There's now 3 files in there, an install file, an uninstall file, and your VR project file. Notice that VR project file is your APK file. Before we do an install, though, we should use Sidequest to make sure we have a good USB connection between our headset and our computer. Many people run into a problem. They think everything's fine, but for some reason their headset went to sleep or who knows what happened. So just open up Sidequest. Make sure you've got that green dot before you do the install. That will confirm for you that everything's okay. Particularly when you're first getting started. After a while, you'll know what's up with there. Okay, so you'll double click the install file and you're going to see a sort of false error. You see where it says uninstalling existing application, failures here can almost always be ignored. And then 3 lines later, you'll see failure, delete, failed internal error. That's just because the script is trying to delete the app that's already there first before installing the new one, but you don't have one, so it's the first time. So you're going to always get that error at first when it's trying to delete the old one. Then you should see what we saw below, which is an installation success. And what happened is that script took that VR project APK file down there in the third one and copied it over to your headset. Now we can go put on our headset and check out our app, make sure it ran. So I'm flipping my video feed over to my headset, go to Library, and where you want to go in Library is this drop down here called Unknown Sources. Now you'll see it says 0 there, and that is a lie. The headset is lying to you. I don't know why. In some of the latest builds, these numbers are not correct. But if you leave and then go back to Unknown Sources, you should see your file there. I have 2 other test projects in there, so I have 3, but you're going to only just see the one. And it will have, again, the name of your project. And you should see now your VR test project running in the MetaQuest 2. I'm just kind of navigating around. Making sure everything's okay. in your VR headset, you'll also hear sound and stuff like that, but you're not going to get it through this screencast. But you can go check stuff out. You can go over and pick up one of the guns. It shoots tennis balls, so no extreme violence. And yeah, stuff that has physics you'll see will move around or fly off the table. And you can shoot stuff into the sky. And that's it.